Good morning. Today is Thursday, August 27, 2020, and the time is 9 a.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. My name is Ian Superville. I'm the construction purchasing agent for the School District of Palm Beach County, and I am being assisted today by our document analyst, Pat Maroney. This election committee meeting is being held virtually via Google Meet technology, as well as being broadcast live and recorded. One announcement I would like to make regarding the call-in number today. The number remains the same, which is 561-357-5900, or toll-free 1-866-930-7015. However, the meeting ID has changed from what was publicly advertised. The new meeting ID is 1-561-434-8910 #. Again, the new meeting ID is 1-561-434-8910 #. The purpose of today's meeting is to select the top-ranking proposer to be awarded a CM at Risk contract for Grove Park Elementary School modernization. We have our committee members and presenting firms joining us via Google Meet, and our public attending via the various methods available on the district's public information website. Should we encounter any technical difficulties during our meeting, we will need to recess until those issues are resolved. Committee members and presenting firms, please do not leave the Google Meet. Public comments will be invited after presentations have concluded and before the committee commences to complete the final scoring. Following completion of the presentations, a dedicated phone line will be open for 5 minutes, for a 5-minute window, for the public to offer comments relative to the content of the presentations. A few reminders of proper virtual meeting etiquette before we begin. Please keep your microphones muted when not speaking and be mindful of background noises. Remember, you and your background are visible. Video, voice, and chat comments are being recorded. And committee members, please use the chat box on your screens to communicate with Pat for any technology problems or any other issues that can be handled without interrupting the meeting. Let us begin by introducing our committee members. Please state your name and who you represent for the record as you are called upon. Glenn?
Hey, this is Glenn Armbruster. I'm from Facilities Construction, SPA.
Thank you. Joyce?
Good morning. My name is Joyce Tsai. I'm with the Planning and Intergovernmental Relations.
Thank you. Patrick?
Good morning. Patrick Kuzosom, Manager, Office of Diversity and Business Practices.
Thank you. Aaron?
Good morning. Aaron Howard, Facilities Construction, Senior Project Administrator.
Thank you. Shams?
Good morning. This is Shams Mogadam, Building Code Services.
Thank you. David?
David Porter, Chair of the Construction Oversight and Review Committee, volunteer, not a district employee.
Thank you. I'd like to announce we have a quorum of members present. Next, we will record attendance of our first firm presenting, Thornton Construction. Please identify yourself by full name, beginning with Dago.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Dago Diaz. I'm the Executive Vice President for Thornton Construction.
Good morning, Peter Supple.
Good morning, Veronica Cooper with Cooper Construction Management.
Good morning, Corey Roos with Thornton Construction Superintendent.
Good morning, John Loki, Project Executive, Thornton Construction.
Okay, thank you so much. Committee members, like I said, the purpose of this meeting is to select the top-ranking firm to be recommended to the board for an award. Final point awards should not be completed until the close of the discussion period and the public comments have been offered. Committee members should consider the discussion and responses from proposers to questions raised by the evaluation committee and may consider public comment as appropriate. Committee members should identify distinctions between the information presented by each proposer in order to differentiate their point awards to proposers to avoid identical point awards and ties in ranking order whenever possible. Committee members, should you have a question for a proposer, please direct your question to the team so the appropriate member may respond. Also acknowledge when your question has been sufficiently answered. Instructions to proposers. You will have 20 minutes for your presentations. I will let you know when you're down to your last 2 minutes. At that time, we will open up the floor for an allotted 20 minutes of questions and answers. However, should we need more time, adjustments will be made. I will begin with Glenn and work my way through the committee alphabetically. If a committee member has a question for you, they will direct it to one of your team members. Please make your response to their question brief to allow committee members an opportunity to ask more than one question as time permits. Also, please remember, this is not a marketing opportunity for your company. Please state your name before replying to any question. Are there any questions before we begin?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Presentation number 1 will be heard from Thornton Construction. Before we begin our first presentation, committee members, please turn off your cameras and mute your mics to avoid echoes and feedback. Thank you. We will now begin our first presentation from Thornton.
Good morning. My name is David Diaz. I'm the Executive Vice President for Thornton Construction. On behalf of our team and our company, really want to thank you for the opportunity to allow us to present our qualifications to be considered for this project. As always, we've set up our agenda in the same fashion that you will be evaluating us today, with one exception. What we did was we put approach to construction of your project first. We felt that this is a critical component in order for you all to evaluate us. So with that said, let me start by a quick introduction of who Thornton Construction is. We are a local Palm Beach construction manager. In fact, we are true Palm Beach. We are a full operational office. It's not a storefront. It's a full operational with estimating, project manager, and so forth. We've been in business 22 years. Since then, we've grown to be one of the largest construction companies in South Florida. In fact, we're ranked right now 13 by Business Journal. We've been fortunate. We've completed 11 projects for the school district of Palm Beach County. The team that you have here has been working for the school district for a considerable amount of time. In fact, over 15 years working with the school district of Palm Beach County, so we definitely have experience. As it relates to our experience with educational facility, of all the projects, of all the companies that are presenting to you today, we have the greatest or largest amount of projects completed. 188 projects, and that's important because we have extensive experience in building educational facilities, especially in projects like this one. As always, we believe on a single point of contact. Why? Because you want to have a seamless process. You want to make sure that all the information is trickling down to all the team members, and that will be Peter Soppel, our senior project manager for this project. Peter's experience, as you can see, this is no young Paul. 35 years in the construction industry, extensive experience, but more importantly, $600 million worth of educational projects through his career. Peter has been fortunate, 20 projects with the school district of Palm Beach County. And if you look at the projects in the middle of the screen, all of them are very relevant to this type of size of projects. We also have Ben Austin, again, another veteran in the construction industry, 19 years in the industry, $250 million of educational facility, and he's completed 13 school district Palm Beach County projects. Again, very similar type of project. Corey, our lead superintendent, you'll hear more about him, 19 years of experience, $230 million. Again, I like to highlight the experience of the type of projects that he's completed. Very similar to that.
Excuse me, Dazo?
Yes.
Is there any way for you to move yourself closer to the phone line or the mic? It's a little difficult to hear you. Thank you.
Were you all able to hear what I said before, hopefully?
Yes, we were able to hear, but it's just a little difficult.
Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you.
Let's start again. Sean, I want to highlight this especially for you. And the reason being is Greg Nelson. We believe that these projects have become a very sophisticated type of project as it relates to MEPs. And therefore, we believe that you need to have an MEP superintendent. This is an individual that's what he concentrates. We want to make sure that when you go out there in the inspections, the drawings, commissioning, this is the individual that will make the life easier for the inspector. He has 18 years doing this, over $100 million of educational facility, and this is a key component for the success of this project. And then Andrew Fishborn, our pre-construction manager. This is a trust that we have with our SPE partner. And I want to highlight that, Patrick, because we have been working with Cooper Construction for a considerable amount of time, and we trust on their capabilities, and we'll be working together under the leadership of Andrew as it relates to the pre-construction. Obviously, our team working very closely with him. As you can see, the amount of experience that he has doing these type of projects. But this is a team that has worked together. It's not a team that was just put for this project. This team, I want to highlight this, 10 years working together. There's synergy, they understand each other, and they complement each other. As I said before, 21 years working with the school district as a team, so we definitely know the standards and operating procedures. And then I want to leave you with this. David, being an architect, you understand that you don't work with any with any contractor. If you were going to do a design build, you want to work with a contractor that you trust and you feel comfortable with. Well, guess what? We've been working with Syscovish for over 15 years. We've done 23 projects, but not only 23 projects, we work on design build projects with them as well. And that's the trust that they have. This is the architect, as you all know, that have been selected for this project. With that, I'd like to pass it over to Peter to talk to you about our approach to construction.
Good morning. I'm very excited about what is going to be my 21st project with working with my hometown school district. And like always, I am going to be the person that's involved at day one pre-construction through the final successful completion of this project. Now I'm going to jump right into the winning strategy for our approach. We look closely at the advertised information, and we know that budget is $16.5 million. We know the student stations are 650. The building size can be between 52,000 and 70,000 square feet. We know that the student station cost per the state is roughly $25,700. This gives us a maximum allowable construction cost per the state of roughly $16.7 million. That's the target we have to hit. So we took a real close look at getting the right program size. I talked about 650 student stations. We know the state requires 100 square feet per student station, so we're going to have a building around 65,000 square feet. This gives us a maximum cost of $255 per square foot. That's what we got to hit. So we looked at it. We looked at both concepts presented by the selected architect. First thing we did is we did a detailed estimate for the welded concept. This is the one that includes that Holden school that's going to need to be considered. And after a detailed look at each trade and historical database that we have, we feel this is going to come in about $253 per square foot, just below the maximum budget that we have. The second detailed estimate that I put together was the catalytic concept. Again, this eliminates the Holden school. It drops the cost down a little bit to $245 per square foot. Again, well within the established budget that we see. And we didn't stop there. We validated this against 7 schools that we've recently priced. We've looked at these, we've factored in inflation, and we've dropped the cost down based upon what we know subcontractors can do for us in competitive bidding. So now we're down at $236 per square foot. Very, very reasonable to hit that target. So we're very confident that both of the concepts presented by the selected architect are manageable and will hit that budget. We also took a really deep dive into the schedule. This is the one that deals with the welded approach, the one that has the Holden school. As long as we get a quick start on setting up those portables and getting the Holden School situated, we're gonna get the school complete within 12 months, turned over with a little bit of extra time to finish the fields. Again, the catalytic approach, the one with the schools and back. Again, we're going to get a quicker start because it doesn't need the Holden School. Still 12 months, we're going to get it done. And it's the same type, it's the same scope of work as we just saw with the welded approach. And finally, here's quick proof. We hit the schedules. And as you can see, 6 of these are with your selected architect. Our history goes way back with Secovich. Now I'd like to turn it over to our senior lead super, Corey.
Good morning. My name is Corey. I will be the project lead superintendent. And I visited the site recently, and what I noticed about the logistics in the surrounding area was that Military Trail is a avenue of heavy traffic. There's also no left turn in the school when heading southbound on Military Trail. So to avoid issues with heavy traffic and causing possible delays, we're going to route all of our trucks and deliveries from south. I also wanted to mention that our partner, his office is located about 3 minutes away. And most importantly, Mr. Porter's office is only a few minutes away, so I'm sure he'll be making progress inspections and visitations to the site. This slide just indicates that all of our utilities are on the west side of the school. And the reason that's important is because that's where all of our connections and cappings will be. Upon my visit to the school, I noticed that the parent drop-off is on the west side of the school. The bus drop-off is on the south side of the school, and there's a short deceleration lane on the south leading up to the bus drop. The reason that's important is to minimize any type of impact we make on parents dropping off their students or picking up their students, and to make sure we're aware of those hours and really make sure the deliveries are there when we need them to be. Not, we do not need them. In this slide, you can see our logistic plans, the welded approach. Shown in red are the buildings to be demolished. So our plan is to demolish these buildings and at the same time move the existing or relocate some of the existing portables as well as add some of the portables that you're going to need for the next school year. Once that activity is complete, we'll be able to put in our bus loop and extend the parent drop-off area, recreating the parent drop-off area and creating additional staff parking. Then, once that's complete, over the summer is when we're planning on doing that work. We can actually start to set up our construction site. We will have a construction gate along Investment Lane. And then we will start building up our double barrier, which will be an inclusive of construction fence, a jersey barrier, and a 10-foot buffer, ensuring that there'll be no interaction between my subcontractors, employees on site, and your staff and students, which is very important. This slide just shows that the project has been complete, and at that point, we'll be able to move students in, staff in, and complete the project with the play fields and the ball courts. This slide shows the catalytic approach. The catalytic approach is giving you guys a completely new building, but also it has some of its own limitations. So we believe this will be a tilt wall, or we believe it to be a tilt wall design, and the limitation that creates is that we're going to be within 20 foot of your live campus lifting 35-foot panels. The other limitation to this is the parking and the staging area, which will probably cause us to have to look outside of the school project itself for additional parking and possibly have some rental costs associated with it. This is showing the building going into construction. Again, the concern here would be the staging, the panels, and for the issues related to the panels, we would believe that the best approach would be a CMU wall type construction. Although this brings into effect some issues of its own with the maintenance of stucco. As we all know, stucco cracks and has maintenance issues down the road. And finally, again, getting into the completion of the project, having all of the building done, moving in the staff and students, completing the ball fields, and then moving out of you guys' way so you can have a completely operational facility. Safety is of the utmost importance to myself and to Thornton in general. It's the most important thing that we have. We are very particular about creating barriers and creating fences in between our project and our clients to make sure that nobody will be affected by any type of incidences. We make sure that we account for all the people on site. We use GPS tracking on our hard hats, making sure nobody's where they should not be. And finally, we make sure that we're directing traffic so there's no incidences out along the roadways and adjoining areas. And finally, COVID-19. As we all know, it's a global pandemic. We're right in the height of it. And so we're very adamant about following CDC guidelines and requirements, placing in the social distancing, hand washing stations, the prepackaged lunch, the signages, and most importantly, using technology to our advantage and making sure everybody's compliant and nobody's unhealthy when they visit our job sites.
Good morning. Our team has developed a comprehensive small business utilization plan. Has taken into account our new normal, and our approach will be offered both online, virtually, as well as one-on-one. We will tailor our efforts towards the trade subcontractors, as well as available small businesses. We will work closely with the Office of Diversity for compliance, as well as for certification for those small businesses that we look to introduce to the program. Cooper Construction will be heavily involved in both pre-construction and construction-based services. Our staff is experienced and understands the needs of the school district of Palm Beach County. As Dago mentioned, our pre-construction manager will be Andres Fishborn, and we will provide a full-time assistant superintendent throughout closeout. You'll notice too that our commitment here is 20% for both pre-construction and construction phase. This slide demonstrates our team's past performance and a commitment to the small business program. You'll note that on Gulfstream Elementary School, with a 20% goal, we achieved 65.5% participation. This is a project that Cooper and Thornton worked together and is indicative of what you can expect on Grove Elementary School. Next will be John Loki, Project Executive.
Thanks, Veronica. Always great working with you. Good morning. I'm John Loki, Project Executive for Thornton Construction, stationed in our office here in West Palm Beach. Wanted to give you a little narration this morning on our pre-con processes, cost control, and reporting systems. Our pre-construction process has a variety of activities from budget verification, value engineering, a project schedule created by our own in-house P6 scheduler, constructability and plan reviews, to competitive bidding, all resulting in a thorough and comprehensive GMP. We know that budget adherence is always important to the district. It's important to us as well. We will continually work with you and the architect at every stage of design documents to ensure budget adherence. Addressing a few additional criteria that set us apart: initial budget verification, a regularly updated in-house cost database, input from subcontractors, especially in technical trades, always evaluating and reviewing possibilities of value engineering. We obtain a minimum of 5 bids per trade using very detailed scope sheets. Bids and work scopes are verified, reconciled, and we negotiate with low bidders to ensure the best value for the district. We rely on Procore for our project management system. Not only do we provide your architect access for ease of submittal processing, but we provide the district project manager access as well. Not only is it efficient, but it's also transparent. Additionally, we have PMIS reporting and weekly OAC meetings. We all know that quality control begins early in the process. We've mentioned a couple of criteria that make this team unique. The use of BIM technology to assist in clash detection and early identification of drawing and field conflicts. Again, we have an in-house BIM designer as part of the service that we provide. Shams, I wanted you to know in particular that we conduct plan reviews at every stage of design, identifying conflicts through BIM technology, and in particular, code compliance reviews. During construction, we use a third-party commissioning agent and incorporate inspections in our construction schedule, all to make your department's life a little bit easier. David, as an architect, you know how important quality control is. We take the operational portion of quality control quite seriously. Amongst some of the measures we take are infrared moisture testing on roofing, for example. This is cutting-edge technology. We hope we've given you folks a little much to think about. On that note, let me hand it to Dago for a conclusion.
Thank you, John. So let me...
Excuse me, Dago, before you begin, it's 2 minutes left.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why this team? Well, the first item that I want to point out, we have built the greatest number of projects, school projects, of any of the companies that are presenting to you today. That means there's a tremendous amount of experience that you have with the company as well as with the team. In addition to that, we're presenting a highly experienced team. Glenn knows Peter. I mean, Glenn has worked with Peter in the past. He knows exactly his capabilities. And then, look, we're a large company, and I'm going to say that. We are a large company, but we still have a family mindset. What do I mean by that? The ownership, myself, as part of ownership, is very involved in every project, and Glenn knows that. I get a call, and immediately I'm calling him back, or I'm getting on the phone with him. And that's the type of relation that we have created in a way we developed in the last 22 years, which has allowed us to grow from an SPE company, and I want to point this out, Patrick, an SPE small company to right now the 13th largest construction manager according to the Business Journal. The reason that we've done that is because of the services that we're providing. We went into Palm Beach doing smaller projects because we wanted to show Palm Beach School District what we could do. We developed those relations. We delivered those projects on schedule and on budget. We even come up with a new system, a lighting system that Sean and Peter worked very closely with. And now I think I've earned the opportunity to get a larger project like this one. So I thank you and look forward to entertaining questions.
Okay. Thank you, Dago, and thank you, Thornton. At this time, we will open up the floor to a 20-minute question and answer session. Let's begin with Glenn.
Hey guys, how you doing? Can you guys go back to your slide on the student station cost and estimate for the welded school?
Absolutely.
So my question on that's going to be with the student station cost. I just kind of want to have you guys go through the student station cost of that with the renovations of the actual 2 buildings that would be staying in the welded procedure.
Just leave it there for a second. So we did a quick analysis.
They're not seeing it yet.
You're not seeing it yet?
There you go.
So basically, we did a quick study of this. We know what your budget is. Right now, we know that the student station cost is $25,744. That's for the state. If we go to the next slide real quick. So we did a quick analysis of the project. And then based on the analysis that we did, we're looking at 650 student stations. Right now, as you all know, SRAP is going to be changing to 100 square feet per student. That means that the maximum construction budget allowed will be about $255 based on your size of project. So we're looking at about $16,560,000. If we look at the budget that we prepared for this, go to the next one, please. We went ahead and did an analysis, and this is obviously the welded approach. And then on the welded approach, because obviously we have to deal with the existing or a new school or holding school, as you can see, an item of $2,200. We're looking at that cost to be about $960,000. So the number goes to about $253 of cost per square feet, which is still below the cost of the student station cost and below your budget. And we feel very comfortable that and by the way, these numbers have inflation numbers in it. So we have projected it to when the construction is going to start on this. Now, we are seeing that construction cost is trending down, but we feel extremely comfortable that we can build this job for $253 a square foot or $16.4 million for this project.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Glenn. Joyce?
Hi, good morning. Very good presentation. Thank you. I just have one question. How would you deal with the possible price increase due to the coronavirus situation? For example, the delay of the shipping or lack of the supplies. So do you have some kind of a plan to deal with a special circumstance?
That's a good question. Great question, Joyce. And several things are happening right now, which is quite interesting. Because of the coronavirus, the construction cost is trending down, which is kind of unique. Right now, the last 3 projects that we have estimated in terms of GMP, we're seeing budgets trending down about 15%. So we're not seeing an increase, but rather a decrease. Now, we are seeing the delays on terms of getting materials. That is becoming a challenge. And what we have done in all our schedules, we have allocated, for example, on air conditionings or HVACs. They usually take about 12 weeks, 13 weeks. Now they're taking 16 to 17, 18 weeks. So we are allocating those type of days that we know of. We're allocating, and that's with elevators, switch gears. Those are the type of things that we're seeing. Our numbers, and the number that you see here, the $253 a square foot for welded, has taken that into account as well, in terms of utilizing contingencies within those line items, for example, on the MEPs, as well as on the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So we have taken that account, and we're utilizing contingencies as it relates to that. And since it's an open book, we are showing the client exactly what those contingencies are.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you for a great question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Patrick?
Good morning again. I just to bring to your attention that this project required 30% subcontracting goal, not 20%. 30% subcontracting goal.
Let me clarify that, if I may, please, sir. The 20% that we're talking about is for our SME partner. It's our consultant, Jackie Cooper. We are guaranteeing a 35% subcontractor for this project. So yes, we are fully aware of that, and we are exceeding the requirements. In fact, on the SPE sub-consultant, it requires a 15%. However, we are saying that we're going to commit to a 20%. So in both cases, the consultant and the subcontractor, we are exceeding the requirement by the school district. So I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question for you. What is your plan to expand your SBE pool? No, I don't want to see like the same subcontractor over and over. What is your plan to bring new subcontractors on your GMP?
And that great question. So we're fortunate, and the reason that I say we're fortunate, our company is fortunate, unlike other companies, is that we do work all the way from Monroe County all the way to Orange County. And what that means is, so we do Monroe County, San Luis County, obviously Orange County, and Broward County. We are able to bring more of those subcontractor, SPE, MWBE, to the mix for Palm Beach School District, because we have those relations, and we are able to basically capitalize in that. And a lot of those subcontractors want to do business here. They want to open companies or areas here in order for them to do work. And we have commitments from many of them. I don't know if you would like to add, Veronica?
Thank you for that question, Patrick. On a recent school district project, we did exactly that. We had known subcontractors who were not certified with the district. We worked closely with your office, with Heidi, ensuring that they were introduced to your certification requirements, and they became certified in time for bid due date. A few of them who were selected for our most recent project and our new subcontractors working with Palm Beach County Schools.
I just want to piggyback one more thing real quick. One thing that we take pride on, look, we were an SBE company and we grew to be one of the largest companies. We understand our responsibility towards that. Something that we've been doing in the past year is we're doing what we call town hall meetings. And these town hall meetings basically is we send out invitations to MWE, SBE subcontractors and give them not only the project for this particular project, for example, but the projects that we are working on other areas. And what that does is it shows interest and they're getting other opportunities, not only with the school district, but throughout. And that has become a success. If you saw in our presentation with golf project, the golf project that we showed 62%, if you look at that project, we exceeded to 62%. And the reason that we did that is exactly that, having these meetings, working with them, tailoring scope sheets just for those subcontractors. And then, in terms of payments become a huge issue, cash management. And what we do is, in those type of companies, what we do is instead of paying them when paid by the school district, we pay them ahead and we pay them on a 2-week rotation. So it helps them with the cash, and that's why they like doing business with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Aaron?
Good morning. That was a well put together presentation. And I might have missed this. It was just something that was in the back of my mind. It was brought up before in one of the meetings. Where is the chiller plant proposed to go now, or is it moving?
It's right now, if we go to, well, it depends which approach you're taking. I mean, right now, Syscovich has 2 approaches. One is analytic, and obviously the other one is the welding. It seems that to us, and the welded opportunity, or the welded, go to the welded 29, please. The welded approach to us seems the most logical approach. And the reason is several. First, it takes away the chiller plant away from the residents towards the east. And in addition to that, if you think about it for a second, that site, where the catalytic approach is, which is towards the back, becomes an extremely challenge as it relates to tilting slabs. If you bear just 1 minute for me, go to catalytic real quick, please. 31. If you go to 31, just imagine this for a second. Tilting these 35-foot panels approximately 20 feet away of a live scoop. This solution does not call for a tilt. You will have to go with a CMU type construction. And then take a step back for a second. You take a step back and go, okay, that's fine. But look how close the construction would be to those residents. Yes, we will time deliveries, we will time construction. But to us, if you go to the catalytic now, go to the 29, please. If you go to the catalytic, go to the next one, please, the 30, please. Now you're building the school towards military, minimum interruption as it relates to the residents. And as we understand from the architect, it's going to be they haven't located it yet, but it's going to be anywhere between the existing building and basically where our drop-off is, away from the residents. Now, one thing that's unique about this project, as you all know, you're welding, that's why it's called the welded approach. You're welding the 2 existing that are to remain, the 2 buildings that you see, and then basically you're renovating those. So to us, logistics and safety, this would be the better approach as opposed to the catalytic. Not to say that we can't build the other one, but to us, we feel that this would be a better approach. Would that answer your question, Aaron?
Yeah, I get a visual whereabouts it would land. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Shams?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Chap, I was hoping for questions.
You answered all my questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks. And David?
Yeah, I found the most important part of your mobilization was pointing out my office location to the world. So thank you for that.
The other day. I was going to have a coffee.
Yeah. So question I've got is in your proposal, I didn't see where you had any experience building temporary portable building campuses before. Have you done anything like that?
Yes, sir, we have, and shame on us that we did not. We really should have. We have done, actually, right now on Palmetto Senior High School, which is one of the projects that we submitted to you all as part of the package. We had to do a temporary school or, portables and so forth. We also have done that with Tony Bilbao down in Miami. We had to build a temporary school. Those schools, which happens to be, with the exception of Palmetto Senior High School, those schools, the Tony Bilbao as well as the Andrea Castillo project, those two projects are the same size as this one. We had to do about 650 student station portable, if you want to call it portable school. One of the biggest challenges that let me just finish. One of the biggest challenges that we had was the food preparation. The good thing about this one is that if you go with the welded approach, you're basically leaving the school as pretty much as is in a lot of the cases. So that kind of works out really nice for you all.
So to add on a little bit, yes, in addition to doing 21 projects for you guys, I've done a lot of schools for other clients. In fact, strangely enough, Dongo was running one of the school districts when I built a school in Broward County, and it was decided that at the last minute, within 2 weeks of opening, I was told to add 20 portables to the project, which we did, and we added all the infrastructure and the sidewalks and the ramps and the other infrastructure, and every single day we were watched by camera crews. So we know how to do it, and we've done it under pressure as well. So we really believe we are the right choice for a number of reasons.
By the way, that was Fox Trail. That was my previous life.
My final question is, how many jobs have you done with teaming with Cooper?
With Cooper, I hate to say this, but probably 18, 20 projects. We go back.
That's fine. I want to make sure it wasn't. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't the first dance together.
No, in fact, we work not only here in Palm Beach, but we also work in Dade and Broward together as well.
Okay, thank you.
Did phase 4 of Timber Trades and Watson together for the district. That's our most.
Okay.
And by the way, just maybe just on a side note, Jackie, Veronica's husband, used to work with me in Cooper when he was young. I mean, in Suffolk when he was young, when he was just a young pup. So we definitely know each other.
Okay, thank you. Nothing more for me.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any further questions from the committee members for Thornton Construction? Okay, we will now ask, yes, Len?
Hey, how much time do we have left?
You can ask questions as long as you have a question. We'll allocate time.
I want you guys to pull up your schedule on the welded. I keep on calling melded, but welded building.
Yes.
I know you guys talked about a 12-month schedule, but I wanted to look at the overall schedule. I mean, 12-month is a build out, but what I'm looking at is the total overall with the holding school, the new school, and the basically the phase 3, the reclaiming of the holding school.
One of the key elements on this schedule is starting the parking, and this is key, parking in the temporary school in the summer work. So basically what we're saying is we'll have to do an early package, and we know Syscobis is planning that based on seeing their presentation, that have an early package by May of 2021. And then what that does is it allows us to go in there, set up the parking, and remember, there's two elements here, the drop off and the parking. You need to do those two elements first, and at the same time, you need to be doing the relocation of portables and the bringing in of portables. So we feel very comfortable in doing this in 3.5 months since we've done it in the past. We've done it in 3 months. Then it allows them to continue working on the drawings, and then it allows us to go ahead and bid. Now, the temporary school is functional, meaning the parking as well as the drop off and all that. And then the school start construction, the actual hard construction will be starting in December. That will go 12 months, and then we'll finish the buildings, get temporary substantial completion on that, and then complete the field, which will be about 3 months. But the key to this schedule will be that summer work, or call it early package. And we have set up, as you can see in this schedule, we've set up in that fashion in which you go into a permitting, you go into a bid situation, GMP, and then obviously notice to proceed, and then we start the parking. And then in the top, what you see in the top is actually the actual construction for the project, for the whole school. It's kind of hard, but
I just wanted you to go through on how, because I heard 12 months, but I know that there was the front and back of that, the holding school and then reclaim. So thanks.
The good thing about this solution, or the way that we're looking at it, it could get you in June of 2023, which is sooner than I think you're planning on getting in there. So that's something that is a plus. But again, the key is that summer work, that pull-out package. And by the way, a lot of school districts are doing that right now. A lot of pull-out packages, and it's becoming very successful.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the committee?
I have another question quickly.
Sure.
So, do you have an idea how much participation goal you can achieve? Just give me a number.
Can you repeat that, Patrick? You broke off.
Yeah. How much do you think? Do you have an idea how much participation goal that you can achieve on this project? Just give me a number.
And today, 44%. And I thought you did the numbers already.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Thornton. We will now ask Thornton team members to disconnect from the Google Meet. Thank you all.
I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. At this time, we will take a 5-minute recess to allow the next presenting firm, State Contracting, to enter the meeting. Please stand by.
Okay, guys, we're on the break.
Good morning. It is now 9:53 a.m. My name is Ian Superville. I'm a construction purchasing agent for the School District of Palm Beach County, and I'm being assisted today by our document analyst, Pat Maroney. We will continue our selection meeting, which is being held virtually via Google Meet technology, as well as being broadcast live and recorded. Purpose of today's meeting is to select the top ranking proposer to be awarded a CM at risk contract for Grove Park Elementary School modernization. We have our committee members and presenting firms joining via Google Meet, and our public attending via the various methods available on the district's public information website. One note worth mentioning is that our call-in number remains the same. However, the meeting ID has changed. The meeting ID for our meeting today is now 1-561-434-8910 #. Again, the call-in number for today's meeting for the public remains the same. However, the meeting ID has been changed to 1-561-434-8910 #. Should we encounter any technical difficulties during our meeting today, we will need to recess until those issues are resolved. Committee members and presenting firms, please do not leave the Google Meet. A few reminders of proper virtual meeting etiquette before we begin. Please keep your microphones muted when not speaking and be mindful of background noises. Remember, you and your background are visible. Video, voice, and chat comments are being recorded. Let us begin by introducing our committee members. Please state your name and who you represent for the record as you are called upon. Glenn?
Glenn Armbruster, Facilities Construction Senior Project Administrator.
Thank you. Joyce?
And Joyce Chai, Senior Planner with the Planning and Intergovernmental Relations.
Thank you. Patrick?
Good morning, Patrick Kuzosom, Manager, Office of Diversity.
Thank you. Aaron?
Good morning, Aaron Howard, Facilities Construction, Senior Project Administrator.
Thank you. Shams?
Good morning, this is Shams Mogadam, Building Code Services.
Thank you. And David?
David Porter, architect, chair of the Construction Oversight and Review Committee, and a volunteer to the school district.
Thank you. Next, we will record attendance of our second firm presenting, State Contracting. Please identify yourself by full name, beginning with Paul.
Good morning, Paul Kearney with State Contracting and Engineering.
Morning, William Hatcher with Hatcher Construction.
Eileen C. with State Contracting.
Adrian Vera with State Contracting.
Roger Gall, State Contracting.
Gerald Tobias, State Contracting.
Vladimir Gatman, State Contracting.
Baron Black, Hatcher Construction.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, should you have a question for a proposer, please direct your question to the appropriate team member by name before posing the question. Also acknowledge when your question has been sufficiently answered. Proposers, you will have 20 minutes for your presentation. I will let you know when you are down to your last 2 minutes. At that time, we will open up the floor to an allotted 20 minutes of questions and answers. However, should we need more time, adjustments will be made. I will begin with Glenn and work my way through the committee alphabetically. If a committee member has a question for you, they will direct it to one of your team members. Please make your answer to their question brief to allow committee members an opportunity to ask more than one question as time permits. Also, please remember this is not a marketing opportunity for your company. Please state your name before replying to a question. Do you have any questions before we begin?
No, we're ready.
Okay, before we begin our presentation, committee members, please turn off your cameras and mute your mics to avoid echoes and feedback. Thank you. We will now begin Our second presentation from State Contracting.
Okay, good morning once again. My name is Paul Cuddy with State Contracting. With me today is William Hatcher, Hatcher Construction. We're partnered up on this project. So we're going to start going through the presentation. We are going to follow your criteria, the two main questions you asked us to address. First, though, we're going to talk a little bit about ourselves and the team that we have with us for this project. So State Contracting is a local firm right here, South Florida based, building primarily K-8 facilities. That's the primary focus of our firm. We are a true testament to the success of the diversity program at the school district of Palm Beach County. We're going to talk about that towards the end of our presentation. We're extremely thankful for the opportunity that the district has given us to allow us to grow, to be here today at this point in time to make this presentation. But we're also committed to giving back and paying it forward. That's why we've been partnered with the Hatcher Construction, and we look forward to that long-term relationship. We've always exceeded our goals on every project we've done for the district. That commitment stands for Grove Park, and we will exceed the goals again on this project. We have a strong relationship working with Skokovich Architects. Personally, I've built a dozen of their different prototype buildings across South Florida, so we won't have any issue working seamlessly with that team. We have a proven competitive pricing. All of our GMPs we've done, we're able to come to the table. We're very unique in coming with out-of-the-box solutions for problems, and we're going to share some of those out-of-the-box solutions for you with Grove Park and how we think we can get you to your budget on that project. So again, we are school builders. Projects here showing 96 projects in the K-12 arena in the last 10 years. More importantly, we work on occupied campuses day in and day out. Just in the last 5 years, we've worked and touched on 55 different occupied campuses. So we know what it takes to work with the teams, principals, staff on a school site. Like I mentioned, we're finishing up a project currently with Skokovich Architects. We've completed a number of other projects with them. More importantly, our overall team has worked on 32 different Skokovich projects. Again, very strong relationship with that team. At this time, William is going to talk briefly about Hatcher Construction.
Good morning again, and thank you for having us. It's such a pleasure to work with Paul and his team. Our company have a little bit over 19 years in the construction industry, and we're certified SBE. We have a great relationship with the school district right now, and we do have the ability to self-perform when awarded this project. One of the things that we will bring to this project is the strong subcontracting base that we have in place already. We know that it's very important with the school district, the pre-construction, so we'll be bringing 15% of that along with the CM part of it. And the one thing that we will definitely exceed on this project is succeeding the 30% on the subcontractor. These are some of the projects that we have completed within the last 2 years. Jupiter High School, we was able to move 26 portables this summer very quickly. And last year, we was able to, in a short period of time, of 6 weeks, work at Crystal McCullough and Calusa at the same time. Right now, since 2006, we have over 80 projects that we have done with the school district.
Thanks, William. Just to mention, William and myself as the principals of our respective firms, we're always involved day to day. You guys know that. You've seen William on job sites, myself in the pre-construction phase. You've seen me on meetings every other week, pushing these projects forward to get the best GM we can. So you will get the same commitment of Grove Park from those two of us as principals of our firm. Pre-construction will be headed up by Adrian Vieira and will be assisted by Byron Black with Hatcher Construction. Our construction team is headed by Vladimir Gottman, assisted by Eileen C. and Joe Tobias. Sir Roger Caldwell, our superintendent, assisted by Lawrence Banks. Again, all of these superintendents, project managers have tremendous experience, not just in South Florida construction, but in educational facilities on occupied sites. Just a quick story here. We just finished up at Okehee Middle School. Roger was the superintendent. I want to pay attention to something the principal said here was he became part of the school family. That is what we strive to on every project when we have to deal with existing campuses. We want to be there to help the school through the process of construction, be as friendly as possible to them, and get them through the process. We also have very good marks on our PPE ratings, averaging 3.65, some all the way up to 3.9s. Very quickly, some of our past projects that our team members have worked on and constructed here at State Contracting, just to show the scale and scope of what we are able to do. Phased replacement of a high school. This was a $58 million modernization, similar to Grove Park. Demo some buildings, renovate some buildings, and then replace the entire campus. Ada Merritt, this was very similar also, basically very tight constraints, working close to streets and existing buildings. This is Pinecrest School, $15 million renovation, again, working very closely within a closed campus that's occupied and keeping them maintained, occupied throughout. A little bit closer to home, Northmore Elementary School in Palm Beach District. Vladimir and I worked on this project. We had to basically demolish the existing school and reconstruct almost everything with the exception of one of the existing buildings while the kids were in portables. Roger Call, similar type of phase replacement project, $35 million. Colbert Elementary School, replacing buildings, kids moving to portables, bringing them back, etc. So a strong team understanding what a modernization project involves and what it takes to construct. At this time, we're going to talk about our GMP and processes that we have in place to ensure that we are successful in our projects. With that, William and Adrian are going to talk about our pre-construction.
From the onset, we know pre-construction is a big deal on every project. So that's one of the things we'll be heavily engaged, along with selectivifying those subcontractors and new base. At this time, I'd like to bring Adrian in to further explain.
Thank you, William. As your pre-construction manager, you can have great confidence in us in being good stewards of your budget and schedule. School builders is what we are, and personally, that's all. The majority of my career has been in school building. Later on, we'll speak about specifics to our approach to schedule and estimate and budget for the project, and we are excited about delivering that for Grove Park. But how do we successfully complete this professional service that stands apart as part of the CM at Risk? We like to get engagement from the community and stakeholders and architect right from the very beginning. We like to dive right into the project drawings, present opportunities to flush out unknowns and unforeseens. We also like to engage in correct size subcontractors, also bringing in new SBEs where possible, and bringing also Palm Beach school subcontractors. We also like being involved in decision making so that the district can make informed decisions throughout the pre-construction process. Here's a specific example for a school project that you can expect a level of plan reviews at each design deliverable. Very clear, concise graphics that clearly identify what we feel are the issues to flush out. In this specific case with mechanical, we were able to review all the systems and provide a solution that saves $75,000 on the project and 30 days on the schedule. We also will implement 3D and class detection on this project, and as proof to all our level of professional services provided during pre-construction is all our estimates during pre-construction, and specific here a few some we've done with Palm Beach schools, GMPs come within 5% of our estimates. Now I'll turn it over to Eileen to talk about our scheduling processes.
Thanks, Adrian. We have a great history of meeting and exceeding our schedules on all of our projects. And the way we do this is right in the beginning. We start with Primavera P6, getting the buy-in of all the subcontractors to really establish a very accurate baseline schedule. Then during construction, we dive a little bit deeper into the 2-week look-aheads and go week by week with the subcontractor to really ensure that we're staying on track. When it comes to the district project documents, we're very familiar with your PMIS reports. We'll be doing those on a monthly basis, focusing on full transparency of schedule, phasing, and budget as well. We'll also be detailing a project manual for everybody's input and review. And when it comes to quality, this is where we really feel it sets us apart. We work on the design, as Paul has said, pre-construction, really developing that area and detailing that section. And you'll be able to see the benefits for Grove Park through the bidding and award-based construction and really highlighting its warranty, which allows us to get 90% of our clients are repeat clients. Also, quality is built in right from the very beginning. We'll put together a quality management plan specific to this project and give that out to everybody, including our subs, so they not only understand what we're looking for, but you're looking for as well. And now Roger's going to talk a little bit about safety.
Thanks, Eileen. I'm Roger Call. I'm the guy on the job. You got a problem, an issue, bring it to me. I'll take care of it. Besides getting this building put up, My responsibilities here are to keep the students and faculty and all the workers safe, going home at night, just like they came in the morning, safe and sound. We have a COVID-19 program, and we follow that, and we follow the school board's documentation of the workers. It's done daily. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. So now we're going to jump into the second section. This is the area that we want to focus on a little bit today and talk specifically about Grove Park, specifically about how we see some of the solutions and how we believe we will best be able to help the district on Grove Park to be successful. So we've talked about pre-construction. Now we're going to get into construction. Before I jump into that, we also take great pride in our work. So we're here for the long term. Any projects that we have issues on in the first year, certainly, but even beyond that, years down the road, we'll be here to help service and help the district solve any issues that do come up. So we want to talk about a couple options. We know that Siskovich, a selected architect, came up with two approaches. However, there are several other options that could be applied to this site. We actually presented one ourselves in our proposal book that we turned in several weeks ago initially. So what we want to talk about today is the option one, which is the Siskovich building a new prototype on site. Option two, which is more of the blended approach to demolishing existing buildings and welding all the buildings back together. And in that approach, we're going to show you what we had conceived of as a little bit of a unique approach, which we think is the most cost-effective solution. So with that, quickly about the site, we know what the site location is. We've been out there a couple of times. We've surveyed the buildings. We've surveyed everything on site. We know where the utilities are, all on Military Trail. We did not witness the school flow of buses and kids, obviously, because they're not in the school, but we do understand there's a strong pedestrian access to the school. So we'll have to pay particular attention to that intersection and investment in military with our MOT plans once we get into construction. We are very sensitive to our community. When we go into a site, we know we'll be bringing some things that they're not used to, some noise, some dust. So we have processes in place to control that. But we also want to be good neighbors, and we'll be communicating with all of those communities around us so they know what's happening on the project. So this is the first option. This is the prototype design option. It has some clear advantages. It's a great solution, but there are some negatives. So we're just going to talk about that. It's not going to be ultimately our decision, but we want you to understand how we would approach this. So this is your existing school. First step would be to remove about 5 of the concretables to make space for the new construction on the east side in the green area. There's plenty of capacity for classrooms left on site. Next step will be come in, obviously we would set up our staging areas, separate ourselves with 10-foot fencing. This is what the new building would look like. It is very close to those existing concretables. So this being a tilt-up building, there'll be a special sequence of events of how we lift those panels that are close to the classrooms. Certainly would have to be done either over the summer or when those kids are not in those concretables for safety reasons. We also would then bring all the utilities down a new corridor off the Military Trail down to the new addition. That's how we would access all the utilities. Ultimately, the next phase is to demolish the existing buildings, finally completing what the architect's vision was. This does place the building very close to those neighbors on the east side of the project. We know noise concerns, chiller, noise, etc. will be an issue. So that's something the district would have to work through. Again, a very good solution. The advantage of this solution when you look at schedule is the timeline. This timeline, because it is a prototype, quick design, quick permitting, construction is very efficient, tilt-up buildings. So the schedule actually, we confirm will be completed probably at least a year earlier than the RFP. So a great solution from that perspective. When we analyze the cost is a little bit different. With this option, we believe that you'll be right at that max budget, right at 16.4, 16.5 million. So with that, our analysis shows that it can be done within the budget, but it's going to be tight. We'll have to have very tight controls on the process. Now we look at a slightly different approach. Like I said, we try to think outside the box and bring the district solutions that are the most cost effective. As we analyze the existing school, based on your current enrollment, we believe there are almost enough portables between the existing 10 classroom building and all the concretables that would allow us to displace the students that are occupied currently in most of the existing demolished, proposed to be demolished buildings. So with this approach, what we're suggesting is we would build a building right where you see the red buildings that are going to be demolished. First option we have with this option basically is the existing kitchen, obviously a very expensive component. If we can keep that kitchen building there, we will save a lot of money in the process. We've looked at the structure of that building particularly, analyzed the structure of it, and we're confident that that can actually stay and we can separate that from the rest of the buildings and take them out. That will help us. If we cannot do that, we've already spoken to Mobile Modular. We got a price from them actually, which would bring in a temporary kitchen building. Possibly we would relocate the one that's at Verde currently and use all that equipment on this site back in the green area on the east. The next step in this process, we would connect the walkway between building 4 and 5 so that the entire campus that would be remain existing, occupied, would be able to circulate around our construction in the red. We would have to move admin out of the red building. We would bring temporary portables, move the fire alarm head into that portable. So what this would then look like is you're occupying, we would push the public parking into the current bus drop-off so we can keep our access down here off a military trail clean and clear as much of the day as possible. So here you see us building a new building within the site itself to create that presence on military trail. The final step will be demolish the kitchen, the balance of the portables, and this is what your final site could potentially look like. So again, a slightly different option. We believe this option is a little bit longer, obviously because design is going to be more custom. So the design and permitting will extend slightly, but with the construction just over 12 months, you would still be moving into this facility about 6 to 8 months earlier than the RFP. When it comes to cost, we believe this cost approach is going to be the most efficient. Built into this budget of $15.7 million also includes us bringing that temporary kitchen in there, a temporary space for them to have dining, and the admin portables. So that's built into this cost. So if we can actually save some of those components, it will actually drive that cost even lower. So with that, Eileen's going to talk about our site communications.
As a software, we utilize Procore. It's an online web-based software, allows everybody access through their phones, tablets, and computers. You'll be able to see all of our documents, project RFIs, submittals, everything for complete transparency and constant communication. When we talk about communication, it's not only important to us, but it's very vital to get the input and blessing of the surrounding community. There's a couple ways we've approached this on different projects, but at Grove Park specifically, we're looking at installing a webcam and also building a website for the surrounding community to be able to log into this website and see the progress on a day-to-day basis, which we think is a vital component to get their blessing, as it's a very important project for not only the district, but the surrounding community as well.
Thanks, Eileen. So again, one of the things that state contracting loves to do on all of our projects is find a unique way to help give back to the community, give back to the school itself. On Grove Park, we know the STEM program is huge. This school is coming off of a lower grade. With that, looking to the future, trying to develop that curriculum. We want to help with that, so we would look for a way to try and find funding outside of the district to help purchase some equipment, perhaps some kind of a maker's lab, the 3D printers, something that would be really unique for the school to be help them step ahead once we get their new building in place for them. As we wrap up, as I mentioned earlier, it's very important to us to pay it forward. We are a small business.
Excuse Paul.
And
you have 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Thank you.
So we want to pay it forward. We have a strong relationship, as I mentioned, with Hatcher Construction. The way I would put this, if you want to ask the right question about a teaming partnership, is do you make a call on both sides of the equation when there is no goal, no diversity requirement, no SPE participation? And in the case of Hatcher and state contracting, the answer to that question is yes. We share technologies, we share information, we share resources. So we do have a strong partnership trying to develop and again pay it forward as we move into bigger projects. We want to share that information and help Hatcher grow as well. As I mentioned earlier, state contracting is an SBE. That is primarily the reason we are standing here today in front of you. That program has been successful for us. It is a success for the district. We would love to be a part of Grove Park to show you that we have the same level of commitment on any size project. Any project you give us, we will be able to handle. We've shown you that on past projects. We've overcome every challenge you have thrown at us, and we have the team on this project to make Grove Park a success. So why select state contracting? Again, a strong team knows how to build these types of projects. We have a true testament to the district's success of their diversity program. We have a strong relationship with Siskovich. We'll be able to get in early and help you with those budgets and concepts to figure out how to build this project to get the architect going into design quickly. We have a proven competitive pricing. We think with a few CM firm that we'll be able to deliver this at the best cost based on our track record. So with that, we thank you for the time, and we look forward to answering any questions, and we'd love to build Grove Park for the district.
Great, thank you. At this time, we will open up the floor to the 20-minute question and answer session. Let's begin with Glenn.
How you guys doing? I like your team. I really do. Paul, I want to try to extract some information from you about student station cost and in the budget. So I need you to kind of give me an overview of how you guys look at our student station cost, which is basically what drives our budgets and the state money that's given to us. So can you kind of elaborate a little bit on student station cost and within the budget?
So there were the two options we presented, Glenn. The first one is with the new prototype being built. That one is going to, like I said, kind of think will max out your budget. That student station cost will be right at what you had basically in the RFP. I believe it was 25. I don't have the exact number. However, the second option, which is the reconstruction approach, where we take advantage of the existing structures that are there with the renovation, not having as many portables involved with the move. That student station cost comes in at $24,154. And like I mentioned, there are options within these options. If we're able to reduce, keep the kitchen where it is currently, not have to bring in a temporary kitchen, that would drive that number obviously down from there.
Can you go back to the option one? Slide. Okay, I just wanted to look at where you had your student station costs there. I actually missed that when you guys were going through it, so thank you for bringing it back up. That's what I got for now. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Joyce?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for the great presentation. My question is on to see if you have some plan to deal with the special circumstance in order to meet the established budget and also the schedule. Let's say it's about the availability of the supplies and the delivery on time, the schedule. So due to the coronavirus, there might be the situation, the lack of supplies or increase of the price or the delay of the delivery. So do you have any plans and to take into this consideration?
Yes, we have experienced some of those delays. The FCA projects, the two projects we had this summer were impacted much more this summer than compared to the prior summer. We were only able to complete probably 2/3 of what we were able to do the prior summer, and it was directly related to material supply, primarily on mechanical equipment, which that delivery schedule has gone from 6 to 8 weeks more to 12 and 14 weeks now. So that was an impact. Specifically, as it relates to Grove Park, we know that is part of the industry right now. So because we'll have plenty of time, we will focus on it on pre-construction. We will have specific focus to approach how we we've developed those components that we know are the long lead items. So that mechanical equipment will be getting released very early in the process, way earlier than we normally would if we, pre-COVID, we would have had more time. In this case, we'll make sure that we get those ordered and out the door in the sequence that when we need it in construction, it will not delay that process. So again, the learning curve for us in construction has been dealing with COVID and what the impacts are. But now that we know what the impacts are, we can better plan to avoid those problems in the future.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Patrick?
Yes, Paul, can you talk a little bit more about your plan to exceed the 30% SBE subcontractor goal and also your plan to expand your SBE pool of vendors with new vendors? I don't want to see the same vendors over and over. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, please?
Certainly. Patrick, as you know, we've been very active with your department bringing in new subcontractors. The challenge that we have sometimes, and it's really the challenge the district has, is a lot of subcontractors that are out there in the marketplace are hesitant to do public work like schools, especially because there is some reputation that goes with that. So what we actually do is we go out to those subs that we know work out there, do great work. We'll actually sit with them, talk to them, explain the process, and convince them that by working with a strong CM like ourselves, the payment process is not 60, 80, 90 days like you see on other schools you try to build. The closeout is not as you've experienced. So we convince them to engage with us, get certified with you guys, and then help them partner with us on projects. And we've done that with about half a dozen subs already with you, and been very successful. They've come back and had repeat, and I'm sure they're now working and bidding for other CMs. Particularly on Grove Park, we will continue that same approach and look for new subs. Partly because of COVID, what you're seeing is there's a lot of private development projects that have gone on hold, been canceled. So there are a lot of subcontractors that do great work out there that primarily only do that private work. So those are the guys that we're going to target and focus on to try and engage, like I said, to come into us and help us work on your projects now, because they will be looking for work outside of the work that they may have lost because of the COVID environment.
How much participation goal you think you can achieve?
Especially with the second tier, we believe this project will probably have at least 40 to maybe more, 40% or more participation easily on this project.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Aaron?
Good morning. Good presentation. I have a quick question. How many projects have you done similar in size to this one in the last couple of years?
Pinecrest, one of the earlier ones we showed you, was probably the most comparable. It was $15 million occupied site.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Shams?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the effect of COVID. What is the effect of COVID on the construction costs, both in labor and materials? Has it gone down or has it gone up?
The trend that we're seeing, material, we haven't seen a lot of change in material, mostly is because of the time issue, the delivery that we talked about. On the labor side, we have seen the labor begin to tick downwards. So we are seeing the trend that prices are beginning to, if not stabilize and not having that typical increase for inflation and everything else, that's either flat or even a little bit negative in many cases.
Thank you.
Thanks. David?
Yeah, I like your approach to letting budget drive design concepts. Sometimes architects don't consider that, but that's why we hire the CM at the same time we hire the architect. So I like that approach. I like that you have Hatcher because he's got really good current experience with putting 26 portables in place to create a whole campus. So my question is, how many projects like this have you done with Hatcher before?
We have not done a project with Hatcher that involves modulars, if that's the question. Again, part of our relationship, and they bring that to the table. No, we have not done any modular projects with them.
No, I guess I didn't mean modular. I mean just any project so that you would have a familiarity as joint teams.
Oh, yes, this chart here, you can see there were 8 projects currently working on. Includes, most of them are in Palm Beach. One of them is in Broward, all on very similar modernization type projects. West Tech is probably the biggest one in Palm Beach, so we currently are working with them through pre-construction.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Do we have any further questions from the committee members for state contracting? Nothing? Okay, thank you, state contracting. We will now ask your team members to disconnect from the Google Meet. Thank you very much. At this time, we will take a 5-minute recess to allow the next presenting firm, Hedrick Brothers, to enter the meeting. Please stand by.
Okay, I will reach out to Heather.
Good morning. It is now 10:40 a.m. My name is Ian Superville. I'm a construction purchasing agent for the School District of Palm Beach County, and I'm being assisted today by our document analyst, Pat Maroney. We will continue our selection meeting, which is being held virtually via Google Meet technology, as well as being broadcast live and recorded. Purpose of today's meeting is to select the top ranking proposer to be awarded a CM at risk contract for Grove Park Elementary School modernization. We have our committee members and presenting firms joining us via Google Meet, and our public attending via the various methods available on the district's public information website. I will announce, for those who have not heard it previously, the call-in number remains the same for the listening public. However, the meeting ID has been changed to 1-561-434-8910 #. Again, the call-in number for this meeting remains the same. However, the meeting ID was changed, and it is now 1-561-434-8910 #. Should we encounter any technical difficulties at any time during our meeting, we will need to recess until those issues are resolved. Committee members and presenting firms, please do not leave the Google Meet. Some virtual meeting reminders and etiquette before we begin. Please keep your microphones muted when not speaking and be mindful of background noises. Remember, you and your background are visible. Video, voice, and chat comments are being recorded. Let us begin by introducing our committee members. Please state your name and who you represent for the record as you are called upon. Glenn?
Glenn Armbruster, Facilities Construction Senior Project Administrator.
Thank you. Joyce?
Good morning. Joyce Chai, Senior Planner with the Planning and Intergovernmental Relations.
Thank you. Patrick?
Good morning. Patrick Kuzosom, Manager, Office of Diversity and Business Practices.
Thank you. Aaron?
Good morning, Aaron Howard, Facilities Construction Senior Project Administrator.
Thanks. Shams?
Good morning. My name is Shams Mogadam. I represent Building Code Services.
And David?
David Porter, architect, chair of the Construction Oversight and Review Committee, and a volunteer to the school district.
Okay, thank you all committee members. Next, we will record attendance of our third and final firm presenting, Hedrick Brothers. Please identify yourself by full name, beginning with Brett.
Good morning, my name is Brett Strassel. Good morning, my name is Jack Ulrich with Hedrick Brothers. Tony Mish. John Burney.
Christine Corrigan.
Okay, is that the full team?
Lynn Mims.
Okay, thank you. Some instructions to the committee members. Should you have a question for a proposer, again, please direct your question to the appropriate team member by name before posing the question. Also acknowledge when your question has been sufficiently answered. Instructions to the proposers. You will have 20 minutes for your presentations. I will let you know when you are down to your last 2 minutes. At that time, we will open the floor to an allotted 20 minutes of questions and answers. However, should you need more time, adjustments will be made. I will begin with Glenn and work my way through the committee alphabetically. If a committee member has a question for you, they will direct it to one of your team members. Please make your answer to their question brief to allow committee members an opportunity to ask more than one question as time permits. Also, please remember this is not a marketing opportunity for your company. Please state your name before replying to the question. Do you have any questions before we begin?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Before we begin our presentation, committee members, please turn off your cameras and mute your mics to avoid any echoes and feedback. Thank you. We will now begin with our third and final presentation from Hedrick Brothers.
Wait, we had an error. Hold on a second.
Okay.
You see our screen?
Do you see our screen?
you there?
No.
Or
Ian?
Ian, you there?
No,
Yes, I'm here.
we do not see your presentation. Okay, hold on.
How about now?
Yes, I
Yes.
can see it now.
Okay, can you reset the clock, Ian, please?
Yes, it has not started.
Okay.
Okay, so Hedrick Brothers, you may begin.
Well, good morning. And again, on behalf of Hedrick Brothers, thank you for the opportunity to allow us to present on Grove Park Elementary School. As stated previously, my name is Brett Strassel, the proposed project executive for the project. To my left is Jack Ulrich, our Vice President of Pre-Construction. Tony Mish, the designated project manager for the project. And to his left, Sean Burney, our Director of Pre-Construction Services. Also on our line, we're happy to have Lynn Mims, who is our SBE partner. Now, many of you know Hedrick Brothers, and over our 3+ decade relationship have got to know us. But let's take a little bit deeper delve into exactly who we are and what we've accomplished.
People come to us because they trust us. They know that we're going to give them a quality product. They know that we will meet difficult schedules. And they know that we're going to build things that are sustainable and add value for the long term. I've been asked, is this the best team you got? And I say, yeah, we're a good team, but we got a bunch of good teams.
In keeping with the presentation format, we would like to jump right into Category 1 and discuss pre-construction. If we could start off by discussing our GMP, I'd like to turn it over to Jack at this time.
Thank you, Brad. The slide that you're looking at represents 18 projects which are all gone through our pre-construction process, which is very similar, if not exactly like the school district of Palm Beach County. These projects were all gone through the pre-construction process in the last 18 to 20 months. The next slide indicates the hallmark, the bullet points, if you will, of the pre-construction process. Obviously, there's 4 estimates from schematic all the way through the GMP completion estimate. We take the estimating quantity survey method very seriously from the first estimate all the way through. As the job matures, we have pre-construction bid meetings with the subcontractors to make sure they're fully informed. We go through an analysis to find out whose subcontractors are available. We tailor the bid packages so that we don't overwhelm anybody and try to create the maximum participation. Schedule and value engineering and constructability is all the way through. Now, what we are seeing in the pre-construction process is we do see more aggressive pricing from the local subcontractors. However, we have also experienced some material delivery problems with this virus thing that we're going through. So that's just a comment on the current situation in the pre-construction. 5 projects displayed here, full educational projects, all completed on time, and savings will return for each project.
So let's talk about your project a little bit. We started out and looked at your project, looked at the current program, did a quick analysis of it, compared it to our historical project. For example, compared it to Adult Ed. On Adult Ed, the building itself came in at $195 a square foot. When you add in all the site costs, off-site, on-site utilities, it came in at $247 a square foot. So for this one, we plan on spending right around $2 to $2.2 million on the temporary holding school, another $3 to $3.3 million on renovating the existing facility, and then $12 to $13 million on the new construction portion of it, giving you a total student station of $23,000 to $25,000 a student. And like I said earlier, we feel very confident on this project, comparing to projects we just recently finished and other projects that are bidding out and what Jack said about the current market. So let's talk about controlling budget. We've started this process already by going through and doing a program analysis. That analysis will actually go into a deeper dive once we hopefully, knock on wood, get selected and move forward. We'll then be comparing it more to our historical data, utilizing target value design, making sure that what is being specified fits within the budget. We truly see ourselves as the scope creep police during this phase, making sure we're monitoring the design, utilizing the VDC models, pulling out quantities out of it, doing continual estimating, really being able to identify as the design progresses that any scope that's in that model, in that current design, is captured in our estimate. Schedules is another important component of pre-construction. We actually did a detailed schedule for your project that we'll talk about later when we get to logistics. But we're, as Brett said, we've done 30 years of work with you guys. I think you know that we're very capable of putting together very detailed schedules, identifying all the young lead items, identifying the critical paths, sequencing durations, making sure that this is done early in pre-construction, so the phasing's incorporated into it, the estimates incorporated, they're utilizing it, and making sure we have a good plan to start. Our goal in pre-construction is to create that predictable project, and this is one of the tools we use to do that. Of course, also with reporting, very capable of doing the PMIS reports. This is something that we do for you every time. The monthly report that gives you all the information you need to make sure that anyone that reads it has a good understanding where the project sits at any time. Next, let's talk a little bit more about quality assurance. For us, quality really starts in pre-construction, utilizing our VDC department, utilizing class detection, making sure that we're taking the drawings the architect and engineers develop, blending into a 3D model, looking for things that run into each other and solve those issues up front. Also doing virtual mock-ups, looking at waterproofing details, seeing how different materials come together, making sure that's thought through and correct and accurate. And of course, utilizing laser scanning on an existing facility like this. Laser scanning is a great tool to bring in. They'll scan the existing structure to make sure that the as-built actually match what's actually there on site. And then once we move into construction, utilizing it again to make sure that the plan that's created in pre-construction is actually followed into construction, make sure what's being installed is actually what was supposed to be installed in the exact same place it's supposed to be. And then, of course, once we're in construction, Tony and his team do a great job ensuring quality. We, take great pride in doing our quality control inspection forms that we do internally, and then also sitting down with subcontractors before each phase starts out. Like, for instance, foundation. When the foundation phase begins, bring the concrete crews in, sit down with them, make sure they understand the specs, make sure they understand the inspection requirements, make sure everything is dialed in so they're able to start with success. And then, of course, doing our water and air intrusion tests on all the doors and windows, making sure that when we turn the building over to you, it's leak-proof.
The number one priority on a job site is that everybody goes home that night. So with our EMR rating at 0.56, we have a very successful history of low incidents with OSHA concerns. And recently, with the CDC compliance and the COVID issues of this past March, the Adult Education Center was in the middle of completing its finish stages. We had no incidents on site. We complied with CDC and all their protocol requirements.
All right, now Mim will talk to us a little bit about our SBE program and how we're going to go through that.
Good morning, I'm Lynn Mims. I will be our Team Diversity Inclusion Manager. From day one, I will be an integral part of the team, assisting with the development of the bid packages, the outreach, monitoring, and reporting. I will work closely with the Office of Diversity to ensure that all SBE firms and vendors are included. And also working with the diversity office, I will allow a team to show our commitment through our outlined programs. We have exceeded 30% participation on projects and have an average of 38% participation overall. As you can see, here is some of our participation that we have achieved. How we would do this, we would develop, implement, and support. Here are some of the ways that we would do that. We would work with displaced workers and subcontractors and vendors. Those are workers that have been displaced by some type of natural disaster or even with COVID. We would work with new and emerging local certified contractors. Those are ones that have been certified by the SBE, by the Office of Diversity as an SBE, or ones that have been, as in the past, been an SBE. We would do apprenticeship and on-the-job training. And with our apprenticeship program, we would teach technology, educational modeling, software, training, and job mapping technology. Our workshops, we share experiences and resources and develop resources. We will have what we call a table talk one day a month for SBEs to sit down and discuss the project, if there should be any concerns or any issues, that we can stay on track and complete this project on time. We will grow the technical skills. We will help to optimize the performance through the project with technology to help with the punch out and the completion of the project. We will have what we call a go-to resources. This team, our team, will work with the local chambers, with the different other community organizations, with the Office of Diversity, churches, anyone that will be able to help us bring on new, current, and emerging SBE. We will have what we call a one-on-one mentoring. We will work with those contractors and SBEs if they have any issues, how to help them purchase material at a discount, and, if there may be some issues with funding or financing or anything to do with the project, we will have a one-on-one. We want everyone to succeed on this project. Also, we have a subcontract default insurance program. What that is to the program, it would allow us to work with the contractors to fall up under the program to help too with their financial portion of the project. How we would do this, we would get the word out. We will have what we call a matchmaker pre-bid virtual meetings. It will share information about the project. It will include the scope, design, schedule, how to pre-qualify to bid the Grove Park Elementary School, and more project-specific qualification. There will also be small and defined pre-bid packages and opportunities. And then we will also have a pitch. During this virtual meetings, it would allow the minority sub-SBE contractors to give their pitch to the prime contractors. And they will introduce themselves, tell them about their qualification, what they have done. This will allow us to move forward and maximize and exceed our participation. If permitted, there will be face-to-face pre-bid meetings and walkthroughs if it's allowed at this time. We will also, work with the contractors through Building Connect. We would help them with the license, insurance, and bonding, and references, and weekly meetings. So we are an inclusive, collaborative company that want to make sure that everyone meet the job schedule and that everyone leave your home.
Our sub-base is strategic to us in that it makes or breaks us on a project. There's a lot of protocol that we deal with subs to make sure that they cross the finish line with us and succeed. The construction team I've worked with on previous projects, including Tanya, Eric, and Yolanda, and I'm looking forward to working with Tim and Kelly on this project. Some of the key issues of the actual project, the nuts and bolts. We want to be good neighbors. There's a surrounding community for the school that we don't want to impact. We looked through the traffic congestion in the area, the logistics of getting off and on the site, and staying on schedule within budget. Key item here is good communication.
So let's talk again about your project specifically. We did our initial schedule to it, and what we did is we stopped and looked at all the different options you had. Tony will go through some of the options that you had and what our logistics plan would be for them. But what we did is we did a deeper dive into what we saw was the hardest plan, which is having the building be up against Military Trail, and trying to figure out how best we could solve that problem, how best we could deliver that project for you. So after going through the schedule, after going through the logistics plan, we feel very confident to be able to tell you that your final completion of, having an occupancy at 5/16 of 2023 for that 2023 school year is very doable. We actually believe that, with this plan that we're implementing here, we'd be able to deliver to you a year early. So going through the process, keeping all the design components the same, bidding process the same, starting construction on 3/11/2021, having that holding school completed on 6/7/2021, and then diving into the construction portion of it, being able to deliver construction of the new buildings and having you allow to start occupancy on 5/16 of 2022 for the 2022 school year, and then finishing up the fields afterwards.
Looking at Segovich's options for the site, we looked at the hardest one, the nuts and bolts of this project, but we have the holding school on site. We've divided up the project into two areas where we're keeping the kids to the east, utilizing in phase one the new drop-off area, and put that in place early to allow for students and buses, parents to access the holding school. We can add in additional portals, portable classroom space as needed, administrative office, and dining facility. We can also look at implementing some of the existing classrooms into this stage if needed. The purple area shows demolition, the green area shows along Military Trail, the new school, and the renovations of the two existing buildings. We're going to keep construction to the north and to the west of the project, so we're staying isolated from the kids. The other option we looked at, we're not too sure if this is going to work out for the community, but we think it's a viable option that would accelerate the schedule for the kids if they're able to be relocated to a facility off-site. We would like to keep the building towards the east, but move all the outside activities to the west, and the school acts as a buffer basically against the residents. We've also looked at utilities that are existing. We don't see any major concerns with existing utilities. One item that we do need to pay attention to is location of the chiller yard. I know the surrounding residential area, it could be a major concern for them and could impact the school district.
So this flag through right here kind of walks through that first plan, that option A, summer 2021, coming in immediately and starting out, putting in that new drop-off and parking lot, identifying the temporary holding classrooms to the north of this plan right here, utilizing those portables for the temporary construction trailer. And then during the school year of 2021, we're building the building, modernizing the two buildings. Following up, you then occupy. Summer of 2022, you're in there, be able to do school, and we're finishing out the field.
As I said before, we're going to be good neighbors. One of the things that I'm concerned about is using laboratory compaction during foundation and excavation. We want to try to avoid that and use other methods. We want to keep the noise levels down during construction. We want to make sure that there's good dust control. We could install temporary irrigation, keep the dust down, because we don't want the neighbors' pools getting filled up with dirt. Additional concerns.
Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
Really quick, you have 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Additional concerns are with the school being on site with the kids. It's going to be a day-to-day communication with the principal and staff, ensuring that we're not affecting the student drop-off and bus pickups, coordinating with any testing that's going on with the school, and just working with them hand in hand to make sure that this is an easy transition as we build a new facility. So in conclusion, why Hedrick Brothers? I think we've just demonstrated we have a phenomenal safety record and an A-plus team to deliver this job, both under your budget and with a potential schedule that could meet your needs or even exceed them. We've studied the logistics, we have the technology, we have the staff, and make no doubt about it, we ask for your vote as we think we are the best qualified team for this project.
We've been in business for 41 years. I grew up in West Palm Beach. I'm a product of the Palm Beach County District Schools and as well as Palm Beach Junior College. One of the reasons why this project is important to us is because we have 125 employees in Palm Beach County. Their children go to Palm Beach District Schools. And this project is a part of the culture of our community, and we're involved in our community, and we want to help. For the past 13 plus years, I've been privileged to do 4 CM at risk projects for Palm Beach County School District. I understand and know your expectations. I know what you need. I know the important factors of your projects to achieve the final goals. But in order for me to accomplish that, I need for you to know my team, the team that's going to get you to the finish line. My team is ready to work for you, and we want this job. We're ready. We want this job. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready. We're ready.
We're ready. We're ready. We want this job.
We want this job.
We want this job. We want this job. We want this job. We want this job.
We want this job.
We want this job.
We're ready. We want this job.
Okay, thank you all. At this time, we will open up the floor to the 20-minute question and answer session. Let's begin with Glenn.
Thanks, guys. Good presentation. I really like the team, and I like the approach that you made with the accelerated schedule. I think that really looks good. I'm just going to get a little specific on, and I've done this with everybody, the student station cost and your budget, and kind of just run us through that and let me know if you guys think we have any problems with meeting student station costs, since that is actually a driving factor for us recently.
Sure. Sean, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've gone through and really what we did is compared it to previous projects, did the takeoff, looked at the square foot range that you have, and really feel confident that we can deliver this thing within this price. So now that's up on the screen. So like I said previously, right, adult ed, we finished the building at $195 per foot. The site, it was a large site similar to this, demoed the whole site. We ended up at $247. So for this one right here, with the square footage at 70,000 square foot, we were able to, we were looking at thinking that the top end of that site per square foot would be $235 per foot for the 70,000 square feet. That's incorporating the new construction and the renovation. Now, mind you, if we, go to one of the other options where we're not utilizing the renovation, those numbers would skew a little bit. But as you can see here on the screen, we went through and did that dive into each one of the components separately, so we can be able to isolate those and add or subtract depending on what the plan develops into.
So you don't, with the accelerated schedule model, do you foresee any problems with hitting the student station cost?
No, we really don't. Like we said, this one, I think we're in a good timing right now, especially with the economical economy of the subcontract community right now. We're able to buy work relatively cheap. I think we will work with the design team to ensure that we do that target value design process, ensuring that we come up with this detailed estimate up front and monitoring it as we go through. One of the issues that we'll have to really keep an eye on for the accelerated schedule is material procurement.
Savings and job conditions.
Yeah, there is because of that, there is a large savings in general conditions by using this reduced schedule too.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Joyce?
Hi, good morning. Very thoughtful presentation. I just have a question, similar related to the budget and the schedule. My question is, we are in the special situation, with the coronavirus. So there might be some possible delay of a delivery or the shortage of supplies. So with those, problems, how would you still meet the schedule and the budget? Do you have any plans, to deal with this?
Sure. Would you like to answer?
Well, in the presentation, we mentioned the long lead type items. We need to focus on those. We're not adverse to bringing materials to the job site and storing them sufficiently and protecting them. So we have possessions 9/10 of the law type of situation. We have projects where we are bringing materials, not educational projects, other projects from overseas. And we've actually sent our assistant project managers overseas when permissions were okay to verify that they were actually making the things that we wanted in order to keep our projects on schedule. So we have to be very sharp and look down the road and make sure that what we need, we know where it is, and we monitor that. So that's a key to being able to maintain the schedule.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Patrick?
Thank you. Then I want to say thank you because I like your plan, to assist our small business. Can you send me a copy of your plan? I like it.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, so my question to you for this project, how much participation goal you think you can achieve on this project for subcontracting?
Well, we have committed to the 30%, but we're looking at trying to do between 35 and 40%. Part of the plan will be to meet with you, Patrick, in your department to see who were some of the previous certified firms. Reach out to them and see, did they just forget to renew their certification, whether they had graduated, moved out of the system, moved out of the area, or even encourage them to come back. We will meet with some of the local community people to have an outreach to encourage new and emerging companies to come in, because now with COVID and a lot of people has been laid off, a lot of people have skills and they may not know about your department or how to get back into the system and what documents are needed and you need to utilize to become a SBE. So we will put that program together. And when we go back to start doing our pre-bid packages, I will work with the team to see where we may have some shortfalls and see how we can shore that up with prime contractors to do unbundling of packages and to break out of packages as well as do second and third tier to maximize and exceed our participation. So we have a very aggressive program. It's getting out in the community and working with people and working with organizations and making sure that we work closely with your department.
Thank you. Don't forget to send me the plan. Thank you.
I will.
Thanks. Aaron?
Good morning. Great presentation. One question that's just in the back of my mind. What are we doing, and you might have already mapped this one out, to alleviate any noise concerns that the neighboring neighborhood may have during construction?
I took a drive around the neighborhood there. There's a existing wall that is on the back of the houses that helps. Obviously, we don't allow loud music on the site. We try to keep normal working hours, avoid Saturdays and Sundays if all possible. But we want to basically meet with the neighbors there, and I've gone to neighborhoods and knocked on doors and introduced myself. And once the neighborhood knows what's going on, and they're not kept in the dark, they have a better understanding of what we're trying to achieve for the community. And most of them are open-minded to understanding and being a little tolerant of some of the noise. But me personally, if I had a house with a pool in the backyard, I would be very upset if I'm cleaning my pool every week. So I want to make sure that that's a priority, is the dust control for the neighbors, and just trying to work with them and make them understand what we're trying to achieve, and it's going to be a benefit for their community.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Shams?
I don't have any question. Thank you.
All right, thanks. And David?
Actually, I felt that a lot of the proposal, or some of the proposal, was kind of a repeat of what we already saw in the shortlist booklets. I think you could have done more specifically about the project instead of telling us everything about Hedrick, because I think we knew all that about Hedrick from the booklets, but maybe that's just my take. I like the idea you might be able to finish a year early, but you then also may have to serve as the banker, because I don't know if the district funding plan will get the job done a year earlier. I don't know if the capital funds would be there for that. The question I've got, Ziskovich, in their presentation to be awarded the architectural contract, had done 2 different plans. And did I miss it that you had done budgets and analysis of both plans to provide kind of your input in terms of which might cost more?
So from a cost standpoint, the option B would be less. And the reason why it would be less is you wouldn't have the temporary holding school. What you'd be able to do on their option B is utilize the existing school. And while we're building the new school to the plan east of their property. So you would be cutting out that portion of it. There'll be some more mitigation with depending on how close that new building is going to be to, I think that's building 2 or 3 right there, that pod building. But based off of their current plan, this one would be a little more cost effective. But as far as the buildings themselves, we assume the buildings themselves are roughly the same square footage, same building.
Are you seeing this plan driving the bus to be a concrete block building as opposed to a tilt wall because of the closeness to occupied buildings?
Well, you'd have to do that. This one would have to be more of a tilt, unless you don't have kids on campus. If you don't have kids on campus, then we could go through and demo out the existing site, put your casting slabs over those areas there. Realistically, right, this is definitely a moving target that we'll be, kind of working through with you guys. And that's really what that value planning process goes through. We'll analyze both these different options for you, both these different systems, being able to give you upfront really early on, because you're gonna have to pick something to move forward with. Give you those analysis right up front, so then you can make educated decision in picking which one is most cost effective for this project, the most beneficial to the school.
Thank you.
Thanks. Do we have any further questions from the committee members for Hedrick Brothers? Okay. Thank you, Hedrick Brothers. No further questions. We will now ask the Hedrick Brothers team members to disconnect from the Google Meet. Thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Not yet.
No, wait. We can listen to this.
No, this is not.
Wait.
Okay, for committee members, is there anything else additional that you would like to discuss? We'll start with Glenn, open discussion.
Looking at all 3 approaches there, they all came up with something pretty good. My eyes, I think Thornton and Hedrick did a better job. State had a lot of good points, but I think Thornton and Hedrick hit it a little bit more for constructability, what I was thinking. Once again, they all had great presentations. I'm tending to lean towards knowing that the Castaldi on the 2 buildings out front is going to be hard to do. So I know that we're probably more inclined to be sticking with the first plan, the melded plan, or the one along Military Trail, just because of those buildings in the state and the Castaldi reports. So I was trying to look at it more so from that point on how we will keep the holding school and how we can do things with the welded school and not the school that's in the back, which also would be a problem neighborhood-wise. So that's where I kind of looked at it a little bit so that I had a little bit of, from what we've been looking at and knowing what I know about the site, the front site would probably, I'm going to say, and I don't give you a high percentage, but it looks like that's the way we're going to be trending towards. So that's where I base a lot of my information on picking who I think is the better CM on this by looking what they had done up front and traffic wise and how they were going to work around with the holding school and the community. So that's all I got for you guys.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. Joyce?
I think Glenn covers a lot, pretty much, like what I failed to. And I think just Thornton, and to me, I think that I like the presentation compared with the others. But I think three of them are pretty, good. I mean, in my opinion, they all did a great job. So my biggest concern, like I always, repeat to all of them, is the how to keep budget within, the schedule is, dealing with a special situation. But then I think either of them I will have a confidence, So, but I think presentation-wise, I think Thornton did a better job. That's all I can add. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joyce. Patrick?
Yeah, no more comment.
Thank you. Aaron?
I agree with Glenn. Good presentations. Glenn, you did a great job again.
Thank you. I'll buy your lunch later.
Okay, thanks. Shams?
Nothing for me. Thank you.
And David, comments?
I guess I'm going to be the outlier. I actually thought State did the best job out of all three. I was disappointed with Hedricks, as I mentioned during my comments, because I really felt that it seemed more like a sales pitch that we already had with their proposal booklet than it was to take all of their time and specifically focus it on this project. I mean, they still did the mobilization work, they still did the budget and the time frame, but I think the other two proposers focused more of their attention, as it should be, I think, in the final selections on this particular project. So that's all I got.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments from the committee? All right, the committee has concluded the discussion of presentations. The public comment phone line will now open via voice recorded message and will remain open for a 5-minute window. The public may offer comments relative to the content of the presentations. We will now take a short break to compile all messages and return live to hear those messages before the committee completes their scoring sheets. Please stand by. Okay, we have no public comments, and we will now continue with our scoring. Committee members, a scoring sheet has been emailed to each of you via a link to Google Drive. Please open, fill in your scores, and leave your score sheet open. Once completed, let Pat know via the chat box. Please communicate any problems via the chat box as well. Once we receive all completed scores, we will take a short break to tabulate scores. Please do not leave the meeting and be alert to resuming, as we will not be re-announcing the scores. Again, please let Pat know via the chat box once you've completed your scoring.
At this time, all scoring sheets have been sent to your email inboxes. Ian, could you please check your chat?
Thank you, Joyce. I see that you're done. Okay, so Mr. Porter, you're not able to access the Google Sheets, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so what I would like to do as a plan B is, Pat, if we can coordinate a three-way call behind the scenes as we tabulate the scores and get the scoring from David Porter that way.
Okay, so I suggest that we go off screen at this point, and I will initiate the phone call.
Okay, do we have scores from everyone?
We do.
Patrick?
Patrick, do you have your score? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and did I see Glenn's score?
Yes, we have them, Ian.
Okay. All right, we have received scoring sheets and will now take a short break to tabulate the scores. Please stand by. Okay, good morning again. It is now 11:52 and the meeting is back in session. All the scores have been recorded. Committee members, please return to your Google score sheets and read me your ranking order as I call your name. Glenn, read me your ranking for Thornton Construction.
Sorry, 2.
2. State Contracting.
3.
3. And Hedrick Brothers.
1.
1. Thank you. Joyce, could you read me your ranking for Thornton Construction?
1.
1. State Contracting.
2.
2. And Hedrick Brothers.
3.
3. Thank you. Patrick, Thornton Construction.
1.
1. State Contracting.
2.
2. And Hedrick Brothers.
2.
2. Thank you. Aaron, could you read me your ranking for Thornton Construction? I'm sorry.
It's okay. 2.
2. State Contracting.
3.
3. And Hedrick Brothers.
1.
1. Thank you. Shams, could you read me your ranking for Thornton Construction?
1.
1. State Contracting.
3.
3. And Hedrick Brothers.
1.
1. Thank you. And David Porter, could you read me your ranking for Thornton Construction?
2.
2. State Contracting.
1.
1. And Hedrick Brothers.
3.
3. Okay, thank you. I will now announce the ranking positions. The top ranking firm will be recommended for an award. Thornton Construction, total points 9, ranking order 1. State Contracting, total points 14, ranking order 3. Hedrick Brothers, total points 11, ranking order 2. Thank you all for your attendance today. This concludes our meeting.